On this episode, we take a look at two school crossings in Bethesda, Maryland that have something missing. Then we cross the Potomac River for our intersection of the month, a 7-way monstrosity near Falls Church, Virginia. We travel a bit farther to reach Colorado Springs. The head of a local trails group and a city planner talk about their trail system. We will look at the city's plans to make downtown more pedestrian-friendly, and finally talk with a local advocate about some bad and good things happening in her neighborhood. Sometimes the little things can make all the difference. We're on Beech Tree Road in Bethesda, not far from the Burning Tree Elementary School. There are pretty good sidewalks along the street here, but as you can see, they come to a screeching stop just shy of the intersection with River Road. River Road has a school crossing there, but for children to use it, they have to walk out in the street around some shrubbery and a steel guardrail. Not exactly a safe thing to do with the fast traffic coming around the corner from River Road. This sidewalk was put in a long time ago. We don't know what was in the minds of the people that put it in, that they'd stop 50 feet short of their destination. But we wonder, does the county still do things this stupid? Let's go to another intersection with the school crossing just a long block away from here and see what they've done recently. We've moved a block down River Road to the corner of Royal Dominion Drive. We have another school crossing here, serving the primary day school and the Holton Arms School. They recently did a bit of work on this intersection. They replaced the culvert, repaved this part of the road, put in a new curb, resodded this whole area. Pretty nice job. Problem is, they forgot that there's a little 20-foot gap in the sidewalk coming down from Holton Arms School. Those kids will get that close to the intersection and then have to step out in the street to get all the way down to the crosswalk, right where all the cars are turning off the River Road at a pretty fast clip. You kind of wonder, haven't they learned their lesson since they did Beech Tree all those years ago? Why, with all this work going on, didn't they put in the missing piece? Not only that, they didn't even leave a gap in their new curb for a future curb cut. I don't think anyone here was thinking or planning ahead. Certainly they didn't have pedestrians in mind. We're at the boundary of Falls Church, Virginia, at an intersection called Seven Corners. It got its name from a large number of streets that come together at this spot. It's also why it's our intersection of the month. That many roads coming together, you have a lot of left turn traffic, right turn traffic, signals for those directions, yield signs. It's pretty complicated for cars. It's very complicated for pedestrians. There are no marked crosswalks, no pedestrian signals. You've got a real guessing game. On top of that, there are a couple of key stretches of sidewalk that are missing. And some of the sidewalk that's there is in poor condition, a little broken up, no curb cuts. All in all, it's not a very friendly place for pedestrians. But the same thing that brings all these cars here brings a lot of pedestrians here. All those streets are the way through. I think the Department of Transportation needs to do a little work here. We're in Colorado Springs with Dan Cleveland, who is
the Executive Director of the Pikes Area Trails Coalition.
And what is the coalition?
Well, we're a nonprofit organization that works with local governments, city and county municipalities in the region to help build trails. We do fundraising activities, education programs, trail maintenance, trail construction, anything we can do to get trails built.
Now we have a couple of different trails right behind us here. What trails are these?
Well, the trail that's immediately behind us is known as the Spine Trail, and it runs about 35 miles long from the very northern part of El Paso County, eventually to the very southern part of El Paso County, through the Air Force Academy, through Colorado Springs, and through the town of Fountain. It's called the spine of our trail system, and we have other trails that branch off of this trail to give us the ribs of the spine. We have two trails in the immediate area, one going east from here, and then another one going west.
And are these trails popular?
Oh, the trails are incredibly popular. They're multi-use, non-motorized trails for bicycling, running, hiking. equestrian use, although we don't get very many horses right in town, people just come out with their kids in a stroller, walk their dog, nature walks, because this follows the creek and there's just a lot of opportunity for wildlife here.
And what are you looking for in terms of trail development in the future?
What we're trying to do in Colorado Springs specifically is we have a master plan of 131 miles of trail planned. We've got about 50 of that built so far, so we're trying to complete our trails network that will enable us then to let people either come out recreationally and just ride their bike or walk or run, or be able to commute to work if they want to do that. And then in the county and the rest of the region, we're trying to connect all of the major mountain parks, regional parks that the county and the cities have in the area. Give everybody the opportunity to get from one part of town to another without having to get into their car, to take their bike or to go for a walk or a run. So we're looking at a real opportunity here to advance the trail system. If you live on the west side of town, we have the opportunity to get you a park that's on the east side of town, and that's what we're trying to do. I'd like to take you and just show you a little bit other trails in the area and show you some of the different activities that can be used on them. The trail you're standing on right now is what we would call an urban trail. It's paved, it's asphalt. It can be used for a variety of purposes. You'll see rollerbladers out here, running, bicycling, people just out with a stroller, wheelchair access, a lot of different things. And then we have the total other extreme where you can go on a mountain bike in the mountains on as tough a trail as you want to go on.
Well, let's go take a look at some of these places.
Okay.
Okay, where are we now?
We're at Garden of the Gods Park, which is one of the city parks in the area. We call it a mountain park, and it's a natural park. We have trails that go all through and around the park. This particular trail is one of the great trails in the region. It's open to hiking, running, equestrian use. We do not allow mountain bikes on this for a variety of reasons. The main reason is erosion, and then also to avoid, it's a very small trail to avoid user conflicts. We do have a totally separate mountain biking area in the park, but this is a very popular trail for tourists, for local inhabitants, just to come out and do anything you want to do. We have picnic areas throughout the park, and it's been preserved for a very long time in its natural state. We're working really hard to keep that up. The mountain trails that we have in the area provide opportunities. This is just one example for just a variety of reasons or a variety of uses. In the mountains or in the parks, you can find just any type of thing you want to do. Incredible wildlife here, incredible animal habitat. But a lot of mountain bikers like to come to Colorado Springs and use all the different trails that are here. People come here to train, high-altitude training for running events. And we have races that run through this very trail that I'm standing on right here today. A lot of horseback riding in here. We have stables, commercial stables that bring people in here to go for their first horseback ride. So
this the area looks a lot different than it did, let's say, 20 years ago.
And that's deliberate, what we've tried to do because of the tremendous use of the park. We've tried to, the city has returned it to a natural state. We've made the place a whole lot friendlier for pedestrians and for bicyclists and for everybody else, just to try to keep it safer for everyone and to preserve the natural beauty of the park. It was getting so much use, we've tried to slow down some of the erosion problems, some of the overuse problems. We've made the roads, for the most part, one way through here. We put in bicycle lanes where you can still ride your bike on the roads through the park. We've gotten rid of a lot of the physical structures in here, things like amphitheaters, visitor centers, and created new ones outside the park. We have trolleys that run into the park that bring people into the area so that we can keep some of the automobile traffic out of here. It's a beautiful park, great place to visit.
We have here Craig Blewett, who is...
I'm a senior planner with the City of Colorado Springs, Development Services and Comprehensive Planning Division.
Okay, now we have this lovely artist sketch that someone has made. What are we looking at here?
That is a sketch of the Pikes Peak Greenway. We prepared a master plan for the Greenway during 1992 and 1994. It's a plan to really revitalize a creek corridor through an urban area through the City of Colorado Springs. It's a corridor that's historically been somewhat neglected. It's an opportunity that hasn't been realized. And traditionally, it's been a corridor along which the buildings that have been built along the corridor, they back to the corridor, they back to the creek, where that's where the parking lots and dumpsters and so forth are, rather than facing the creek and really taking advantage of the opportunity, the asset that it offers.
And what's the current status of this project? What's going on right now?
Well, the project really has been underway for some time. Actually, the implementation started before the plan was even completed. And it's a 13-mile long corridor through the city. And the idea is to build a trail along the corridor for pedestrian access. But it's much more than that. It's a multiple objective project which has objectives with regard to improving the environment, improving aesthetics, improving obviously the pedestrian and bicycle access to the corridor, and also from a public safety standpoint, as in Colorado the storms are rather severe. You have major storms that bring in a lot of rainwater over a short period of time. And so we also need to convey the stormwater as part of the project. But we want to do it in a way that is sensitive to those other objectives that I mentioned, and do it in a way that makes it attractive for the citizens of Colorado Springs.
And then how is this particular greenway going to link up with the other paths and greenways in the area?
The Pikes Peak Greenway really represents what we call the spine or the backbone of our trail system in the region. Most of our trails are planned along drainage ways and creeks that feed into our main creeks that flow north-south through Colorado Springs. And it makes sense, as this is the main receptor of most of the stormwater that's generated and most of the water that comes through the region. The other trails that go into the feeder streams would then connect off of this, extend into our residential neighborhoods, and provides good access from those neighborhoods to really the backbone of our trail system.
And do you hope that someday that Colorado Springs will be well known as a bike-friendly community?
You bet. Yeah, we do want the city to be known as a bicycle and pedestrian center of the region, the state, and hopefully the nation. I think in Colorado is a very outdoors-oriented place. People spend a lot of time outdoors, and I think as families, in terms of family recreation, family entertainment, things to do, people are spending a lot more time outside as a family, and it's a great place to take a bike ride as a family, take a nice walk, and really enjoy what we have to offer. Another thing we want to do along the corridor is provide some interesting places to stop. There will be what we call interpretive stations, the environmental interpretive stations to show what's going on with the creek and some of the creek environment. We'll have cultural and historic stations as well. There are locations along here where there was a historic canal that information can be provided about the history of the Colorado Springs area. And so it can be an area that really provides a lot of information about our history, educate the citizens about the importance of stream corridors like this, both to the environment and really as an aesthetic and recreational amenity for the community.
We have here Jim Rees, who is
a project manager for the City of Colorado Springs Planning and Development Department, and working on the Pikes Peak Avenue Business Improvement District, which is part of the Downtown Action Plan.
And what is the Downtown Action Plan?
Well, the Downtown Action Plan is actually a plan for improving the downtown and making it much more pedestrian friendly. We have what's actually called the pedestrian district, which encompasses a good part of the downtown of Colorado Springs. And in it, the plan recommends quite a few things to try to make access and getting around town easier for pedestrians.
Now, what's on the wall here behind us?
Okay, well, what we're looking at right here is Phase 1. It's the first phase of the Downtown Action Plan. It's a 2-block area in downtown Colorado Springs, and what we're trying to do is to kind of demonstrate what's going to happen all over downtown. And this first phase has a lot of amenities in it for pedestrians. We've got the intersection improvements where we're actually flaring out the sidewalks in front of the corners to make the distance across the crossing much shorter and much easier for pedestrians to get over there. The other improvements we're doing is a lot of trees in the area. The area does not have much right now in terms of shade, so that ought to make it a lot more comfortable space. More benches, lighting at night to make it a little bit more comfortable to be downtown, and downtown is really taking off. There's much more activity in Colorado Springs at night now, so the lights and everything will make that a lot better space. In front of some of the other places like the restaurants and the theater area, we're actually flaring the sidewalk out and eliminating some parking, but that will be actually much more pedestrian space, and there'll be seating there as well. So quite a few things in this first phase ought to make it a lot better. a lot more plantings, a lot more flowers. It'll be a much more attractive space as well.
And beyond this first phase, what are we going to be seeing in the future beyond this one street?
Okay, well, this first phase was actually put together as a business improvement district, and a lot of the local businesses are part of it, and they're actually taxing themselves to do the improvements. What they've agreed to do is try to expand that whole district to cover the rest of the downtown. Our main pedestrian link, where most of the commercial areas are, is Tejon Street, and that's where we'll be going next with the project. And there'll be, I think it's about a 12-block length road where we'll be doing the same type of improvements. And the Business Improvement District approves the tax increase for themselves, they'll have the funding to do it.
We're here in Colorado Springs with Judith Rice-Jones, who's with Transportation Concepts 2000. Tell me, what does your group do?
Our group was started about 6 years ago as an alternative transportation support group. And we were really interested in promoting alternative transportation modes and also seeing a better integration of the various modes. Probably the first public action we became involved in was the proposed widening of I-25, and we were very active in the environmental hearings that went on around the widening of I-25. We were concerned because the highway passes at one of the lowest points in our city, so it's a natural collection point for carbon monoxide. It also bisects some of the significant historic neighborhoods of our community and a wonderful linear park which was donated to the city by General Palmer. And we felt that there were alternatives that weren't being considered and perhaps some better ways to go about it.
So where are we standing now?
Right now we're at the intersection of Wasatch Avenue and Boulder Street. And these are two of the original streets that were laid out by the founder of our community, General William Palmer. And he was highly influenced, and he and his engineers were highly influenced by the City Beautiful movement. And you'll notice that we have landscaped medians, which over time have grown into really mature, beautiful features of our city, and we consider them some of the significant design elements of downtown that give a distinctive character to our community and prevent it from looking like anywhere USA. So we were understandably upset when a year ago, virtually overnight, bulldozers came in and cut huge swaths out of this median and the one behind us. And on calling the city to find out what was going on, we learned that there was a drainage project here. And while the street was torn up, one of the traffic engineers, acting totally independently, decided it would be a great time to put in some left turn lanes, although he was unable to make a good argument for why that should be. Looking at the accident statistics provided by the Colorado Springs Police Department, we see that there was a collision about every 3 or 4 millionth car, which hardly seems to constitute a great need for a left turn lane. I think that unfortunately in the training for traffic engineers, they're often taught that the solution to any traffic problems are additional lanes of traffic, and I don't believe that's always the case. And we felt that here, particularly, in addition to the fact that the left turn lane wasn't needed, that there were significant and important design elements of the community that were virtually sacrificed for these left turn lanes. I also happen to be the parent of a 9th grader at Palmer High School, which is a block to the west of us, and the students have to cross this street every day to attend gym classes, and the swimming pool is down here. And prior to the left turn lane, there actually was a raised sidewalk for them to stand on with a landscaped cone on the other side, so that when they were waiting to cross, they were protected and the drivers were much more able to see them because they were a little bit above the street level. Now they not only have to stand in the street in the intersection, but the traffic engineer explained that one of his motives for doing this was to enable traffic to move faster, which is also not something that you want to have when you have pedestrians crossing the street. We lost 7 mature trees at this intersection, and we have a lot of fast food establishments on the other side, so it was not a particularly attractive block. Carving out the left turn lane has really made it that much more unattractive. We're hoping that this kind of action will never be repeated in our city.
Okay, well, let's go take a look at some of the other things that are going on.
Glad to.
So, where are we now?
We're at the corner of Colorado College. The streets behind us is Cascade Avenue, and right here is Cash Laputer. This is one of the oldest colleges in Colorado. It was founded in the 1870s. It's a particularly excellent liberal arts school at the base of the Rocky Mountains. And the reason that we're here is because an opportunity has offered itself to put in a raised crosswalk at the intersection that's directly behind us. One of the heat tunnels that goes across the street is starting to collapse, and so the college is going to have to tear up the street. And with the concurrence of our city traffic engineer, they've decided it offered a unique opportunity to experiment with a raised crosswalk, where the crosswalk continues at the same grade across the street, and it's very gently ramped for the cars. This allows the pedestrians in the crosswalk to be much more visible to the approaching traffic and really greatly increases the safety for pedestrians. They're also going to put a second raised crosswalk in front of the library, which is about half a block north of us, and then see how that works with making pedestrians feel more safe and encouraging drivers to follow the speed limit, slow down, and pay attention to the many, many pedestrians. The students cross back and forth continually during the day to go to their classes and to athletic events, so we feel it will be very much safer and a real positive for our community.
So where are we now?
Now we're on North Weber Street in front of Steele Elementary School. It's one of the oldest elementary schools in Colorado Springs. It was founded in 1910. And unfortunately, in the ensuing years, what used to be a very quiet residential street has become classified by the city traffic engineers as a minor arterial. The classification system has always puzzled me because they call it a minor arterial because of the volume of traffic on the street, but in terms of all of the safety elements that should go along with a minor arterial, in terms of not having a lot of cross streets or not having a lot of driveways or pedestrian crossings, it absolutely does not qualify, but they're using uniquely volume of traffic to call it a minor arterial. But the volume of traffic makes it particularly risky for our school children who have to cross this 4-lane road to go to the elementary school that's over here. And one of our concerns is that we have a multitude of elementary schools in our community, and many of them are signed in different ways. Originally, when we asked for a school safety zone here, they put up a sign that said 20 miles per hour while children present, and many people in the area expressed puzzlement over what when children present meant. Did it mean when children were present on the sidewalk, in the playground, at school? And we felt that led to a lot of confusion. We do think that there's been an improvement in the sign, which now says 20 miles per hour from 8 to 4, which is essentially the school day. But people are also perplexed because they don't know when the holidays are here or what to do in the summer. We also think that because of the width of the street and the speed of the traffic, that the 2 signs that are here announcing this 8 to 4 school zone are really insufficient, and that a raised crosswalk or rumble strips or a pedestrian bulb, which would make the cars visually more aware of the fact that something was happening here, would do a great deal to enhance the safety of the students. The safety, I think, is also compromised by the fact that directly behind us are 2 medical buildings which have parking lots on both sides. And from the parking lot on the north side, if you're exiting the parking lot, you can see that there's a crosswalk there, but it's impossible for you to see the traffic light. So I think that has led to some problems with cars pulling out into the crosswalk when children are in the crosswalk. It just seems that, and today there are techniques that other communities have used to make it a lot safer to cross streets, and especially where there's school children, it seems that the very best of techniques to slow cars should be in effect. The solution that our traffic engineers seem to prefer is putting a lot of signage, even though that they will admit, as the National Highway Administration has shown, that in 68% of cases people don't observe signs, even stop signs. And the only thing that really works are physical, horizontal or vertical deflections that really force cars to slow down and aren't necessarily costly. Many communities are experimenting with speed humps, which are different from speed bumps, and that they're not as high and the rise is spread out over a larger amount of space, so you don't have risk going up and hitting the ceiling of your car. Right. So we're hoping that our traffic engineering department will be willing to work with the neighborhood in experimenting with a number of these different traffic calming devices, particularly at places like this that make it safer for all of our children.
Since this episode originally aired, there's been a bit of progress. The Department of Transportation put in the missing sidewalk on Beech Tree Road. They even extended it down River Road as far as the bus stop. And they took out a segment of guardrail so that transit users don't have to stand out in a lane of traffic while they wait for the bus. There's more they could do. You still have to walk around the guardrail to get to the crosswalk. And there's no sidewalk if you want to go farther down river than the bus stop. Up at Royal Dominion, nothing has changed. It's glass half full or half empty. We see progress. We'd like to see a little more. To request a free pedestrian action kit, write to the Campaign to Make America Walkable, care of the Bicycle Federation of America, 1506 21st Street Northwest, Suite 200, Washington, D.C. 20036.
Visit us on the internet at www.pedestrians.org.